What's going on, guys? Bonafide Hustler here. Today we're going to be doing Bonafide Q&A episode 2. So if you're enjoying this series, make sure you hit the like button and make sure you put a comment, and that way I'll see it and I'll know to continue this type of series. But basically in this show, what we do is I answer your questions that come from YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram in regards to reselling, eBay, Amazon, local reselling, the antique booth, things like that, and other stuff as well that you might see in my videos and maybe you have a question about. So that's what we're going to get done in this show. I'm the Bonafide Hustler. I reside in Austin, Texas, and on a part-time basis, I flip stuff that's pretty much used items. I find these used items from thrift stores and primarily garage sales, and I put them on places like eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, my antique booth, and other consignment avenues in town. So that's what I do. My name is Chris. And feel free to put a question in the feed. I might see the feed questions, but I put priority to the questions that come from posts that I did earlier in the week. So I put a post that shows like Bonafide Q&A is going down, and put your questions here. And so I put priority to those, and I'll answer as many as I can. I sometimes don't answer all of them because some of them are just a little intrusive and just questions that I don't believe need to be answered, a little bit too private, I guess. But outside of that, yeah, pretty much anything goes. So it's good to hang out with you guys out here. Let's get to the first question. I pretty much populated all these things on my phone, and so I can read directly off the phone. I'll shout your name out if I decide to read your question, and if I can answer it, I will. If I can't answer your question, then I'll try to put you in a direction where you can get an answer, but I'm certainly not going to pretend like I know the answers to everything here. So hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me make sure the camera is streaming correctly. And let me do a sound check. I guess it sounds pretty good. It's good to see everyone here in the feed. And feel free to talk amongst each other in the feed too if you happen to catch this live. All right, so the very first round of questions are coming from Facebook. All right, so here we go. Coming from Facebook, we got 4 questions. And we might have more than 4 questions, but on the real post that I put up a couple days ago, from Darren Cummings, it says, which selling platform do you like best or prefer? eBay, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, Booth, or Amazon FBA? Which one nets you the most profits? All right, so and when it comes to the most money coming out of it, I would say the most comes from eBay and local reselling. Sometimes one is more higher than the other in a given month. It really, I just can't say that one is certainly better than the other. I can honestly say that reselling on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, and having those same things maybe on eBay, or vice versa, having things on eBay and then deciding to cross-list them on other avenues such as Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace is a really, really good idea. I started doing that the tail end of last year, and it has made a world of difference, which is awesome. I never really suggest that people go heavy into one avenue ever. So this was a good way for me to diversify, and it was a good way for me to basically put more eyes on the same items that are sitting at my house anyway. So the most eyes would come from eBay, but a lot of times you would be so surprised that the caliber of items that would sell locally as well. It just blows my mind. And so I tend to list a lot of items locally as well. In fact, this morning, I know on Facebook Marketplace, I have 70 items listed locally. I know on my eBay store, I have like 160 as of this morning, something like that, or maybe 159. I sold something locally like an hour before this show aired. Okay, so that was from Darren Cummings. Patricia Knott says, what is the best place to meet someone for local sales? This is a really good question, and I can, I can see that Patricia is more than likely a lady, and so, sometimes there's those worries, like, where do you meet someone? That could be weirdos. Like, I get it. I happen to be like a pretty tall, like big guy, so for me, I don't really think about things like that, but I can see how someone else would think of things like that. So where's the best place to meet someone for local sales? I truly meet a lot of my people at my house, and I'm all good. I live in Austin, Texas. People are really, really nice here. But I know that might not be the case. Like if you live in Houston or some metro city, things where crime rates are much higher, I would definitely meet in a nice, well-lit gas station. And then when you depart, check your rear view religiously to make sure no one's following you home or anything like that. But a gas station close to your house should suffice. If you're worried about meeting people altogether, then scratch the late evening hours and the night hours. Don't ever meet people during that time. But if you're not afraid to meet at the house, then just have them come to your house. So But I can see that if you're trying to meet for local sales, I've met a lot of times at the gas station, majority of the times at my house. And if I can bring the item closer to somebody and it can make me the sale, then I'll bring it closer to someone as long as I'm going to be in that part of town. Does that make sense? I don't usually just like break my schedule up and just start flying all over the place to meet people for local stuff. But if I happen to be in that part of town, I'll get with anybody that has a remote interest in any item that says that they can't come up to my house. I'll get back to them real quick, say I'm going into Central Austin on Wednesday or something like that. I can bring it down there for you, and you can convert about 30-40% of those when you get back to them. But if you don't get back to them, if you don't say, hey, I'm going to Central like Wednesday or Thursday or whatever, things like that, then you miss out completely on everything. So it's a numbers game, I guess. Good to see everybody here. We got a lot of people on the feed, so that is awesome. Good to see everyone. Andrew Castillo, what kind of motorcycle did you used to have? This is an interesting question, not resale oriented, but I'll answer it anyway. I started out riding motorcycles back in college. I had a ZX7R. It was a maroon one. I think I bought it for about $7,500 and rode it. I let my friend ride it in the parking lot of a Circuit City, and I had a suspicion that he didn't know how to ride a motorcycle, and my suspicion was correct. He basically floored it right into a Circuit City van, did cartwheels, and fell on the floor, and my bike was totaled. I got another ZX7R after that, and from there I bumped up to an R1 within about 6 months or a year. So those are the three motorcycles that I did own. I finally, kind of capped off my motorcycle riding career with an R1, which is a really, really fast bike. I liked it a lot back in the day. It was awesome. Yeah, and so. Was I the most responsible person with a motorcycle? Probably not. And there were a couple little wake-up calls where I was like, you know what? If I get out now, I'm doing pretty good. If I keep going at this rate, I'm probably not going to be alive in 5 years. So I stopped doing all that kind of stuff. I used to do stunts and all this other random stuff, but not the smartest thing to do. Okay, but that's also in college. So remember, actually, college into my professional career, maybe 2 years into that, that's when I decided to cut the bike off. Another question from Patricia. What other platform do you sell on besides Amazon and eBay? Do you sell on Etsy? I do not sell on Etsy. I do not sell on Depop. I do not sell on Poshmark. I sell on eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, my antique booth, Facebook Marketplace, and sometimes Play It Again Sports in town. So those are the main places where I sell things. Okay. Got Pug Life Jones in the house. I just bought the shoe guide 10 minutes ago. Thanks, dude. Let me know what you think about that guide. Open it right now, look at it, and tell me what you think. It's on your phone. You should have a direct download immediately to it. Thank you for buying the guide, by the way. If you want to learn about shoes and the used shoe resale game and everything like that, definitely pick up my guide. It's down below in the feed. Yeah, I stand behind my products. I don't mess around, and I certainly don't try to write things on or create guides on things that I don't know about. Let's put it that way. So, this stuff comes from direct experience. Been reselling for around 14 years or something like that. So a lot of fun. You can make a lot of good money on the side. Okay, so that's Facebook. This new iPhone, and it's just weird scrolling between the screens here. Okay, Instagram. Let's go to Instagram real quick. You can find me at The Bonafide Hustler on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, The Bonafide Hustler, you can find me there. And when you see these slides come up saying Q&A, post your comments here, those are the ones where I read the priority questions before I go into the feed here. But it's good to see everyone here. So anyways, okay. I'm going to read comments from the feed here in 1 second, the live feed. So, okay. Joe for Barca. It's one of my friends. What's up, Joe? Good to see you. Also one of my friends that bought one of my first private label Strella hats. So you can see some of the Strella hats in the background. It's kind of my private label brand that I'll be working on heavily this year. But anyways, what's up, Joe? Good to see you. When you cross-list an item, how many different platforms do you put it on? 2, Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. Which local avenue do you see the most traction on? Thank you. It's split 50-50. I can't say that one is better than the other. They both bring really good people to my home, and I sell products. What did I sell earlier today? With it an hour ago, I sold a Howler Brothers vest that was picked up for I think 10, maybe 15. Sold it for 60. So all kinds of weird things sell on local markets. OGC Carnivore. How do you monetize duds? I think duds, what he meant by that is items that maybe or bad buys, right? Or maybe they're needing something, you don't want to order it, you don't want to get around to testing it or something like that. So it's kind of like a dud buy. You shouldn't have bought it in the first place, but it was a good deal at the time and it felt real good and you thought you were going to do well, but you don't. And he's clarifying that with electronics that don't work. Okay, if electronics don't work and you picked it up from Savers or Goodwill or things like that, you can return them, but there's a certain like time frame. You know, like Goodwill here has a 7-day return policy, and they give you store credit on a card. Savers, I think here I don't return many things to Savers, but the last time I returned something to Savers, like you return something, but you have to find something that very day, as I remember. So how do you monetize duds? The $2 to $3 stuff that ends up coming with large lots you buy. Yeah, books that have like really long tail books, things like that. You know, what's it called? College Baker echoed in on this Instagram comment saying you can donate back to Savers to get a coupon, which is cool. I donated something yesterday, or actually things, and Savers gave me a 20% off coupon card. So there wasn't any like punch card or anything like that. That was pretty cool. So, you know, sometimes having 5, maybe 20% off coupons in your wallet is much better than having a punch card where you're trying to get to 30%. And have to do all these donations. You know, if you're getting a donation for 20% off, even with a small, like all I did yesterday was I donated a bag. That was my personal gym bag. And then a stupid light that was in my house forever. Those two things, and I got a 20% off coupon, which is great. So the answer to that question to OGC is like, how do you monetize duds? Look, if you're buying in lots and you're buying and you have things that are just kind of like, you're not really pumped up to resell them, you really have to donate them or throw them in the trash. Like that is just basically it. Because keeping that around your house is going to stress you out. It's going to stress your wife or girlfriend out or a significant other out. And it's just not good. Like it's not good for you to look at it every day. And it's going to kind of kill your vibe, you know? And you know about the whole Kendrick Lamar song, like, you know, that word that rhymes with itch, don't kill my vibe. You really don't want your vibe to be killed, especially if you're a reseller, because it's kind of you against the world. You know, it's not like you get to walk into an office and high five other resellers like, yeah, we're all going to go listing today and it's going to be awesome and we're going to go source afterwards. It's not like a real job. All right. Being a reseller, there's a lot of loneliness. Okay. There's a lot of like solitude and a lot of working alone. And so you really, really don't need things killing your vibe, because it's already bad enough that the social aspect of what we do is greatly diminished, right? Unless you have a YouTube channel. Yeah, or following, which is why I love you guys, like honestly, because you guys really are my friends. Okay, let's talk about Miss Curtis 2011. Have you ever sourced from a Goodwill outlet? And I think she means, I think she means like the ones where like the bins and you pay by the pound. I have before. It's not my like cup of tea, so I don't go there anymore. But there's one that got built kind of close to my house, so I might go to that and check it out. And it's always good to check it out 1, 2, maybe 3 times and get a good evaluation from those 3 times. Because maybe you go on a bad day when there's not much stuff and someone, you know, maybe shoves you wrong and you're like, this sucks. But if you go over 3 times, 4 times, and then you make a decision after that, then that's a really good, accurate, you know, way to write something off if you have to write it off, for example. And I don't mean in a tax sense. I mean in a sense that you write something off, you don't go back to it again because you're like, that was not pleasant, you know. So I have sourced before at a Goodwill outlet. It's not my cup of tea, but I might go back because another one got built close to my house. Red J says, what system or routine do you use? I'm reading from my phone, so if I'm not looking at the camera, I apologize. What system or routine do you use to keep track of what you spend in profit from thrifting, but not everything provides an invoice or receipt? So terrific, terrific question. All right, so it's actually in my truck right now, but I have a money receipt book. Okay, it's what it's called, money receipt book. You can go to Office Depot, Office Max. Actually, one of them's out of business, I think. Anyways, money receipt book. I get mine from Amazon now. And each page has like 3 different receipts, and you can write the dates in those, what you bought, you know, the addresses of what you bought. And I use those things for garage sales. Okay, so garage sales, as you know, there are no receipts. And my tax professional has advised me, look, if the IRS comes after you or audits you, you're going to want to have some sort of proof and some sort of a ledger thing that shows where you went, the date that you went, what you bought, and how much you paid for it. And you don't need to have them sign it or anything like that. You just need to have something official that you're tracking, right? And so I've been doing that for the past probably 4 or 5 years now. And it feels good. It feels good because a lot of times you forget what you paid for something, for example. So you have to go back in the book and look at it. And if you're really, really good about receipts and everything, like I am pretty good at now. What I do is I get receipts from thrift stores. Here's a pile right here from yesterday's run. And I have an envelope. I'll show you that here in a second. So I have a desk drawer over here. I won't show you that, but here we go. We have an envelope that says January 2019 Thrift and RA, okay? It says it right there. And in this envelope are all the receipts I've done already in January. It's a pretty good amount in there, right? This is from Goodwill's, anything retail arbitrage oriented. It's in this envelope. Now, this cannot go into that envelope until I put it in my Google Doc. And my Google Doc is just a spreadsheet that's in the cloud. I can work on it wherever I am. But typically I would do it on my laptop. I don't put this in here, okay, until I put it in my Google Doc. So the Google Doc has a column for, it has definitely a bunch of columns on the bottom. One's mileage, one is one is garage sales, one is local thrift stores, one is Goodwill, one is Savers, one is pawn shops, one is FBA, one is, and so all these things gets put into those certain sheets, okay? So I have probably 15 sheets from left to right. Within each sheet, it shows item, date, price bought, shipping, price sold, and the date that it's sold. So that's what I have on each one of those little things, with the exception of the mileage one. And the FBA one's a little different too. So that's what I use to keep track of everything. It's a really, really good question. It's a combination of processes, right? But if you get it done a couple times, you know, you keep doing this a couple times, you're like, all right, that's way easier than just having a pile of things like once a month looking at it and going, great, here we go. And 2 hours of my day killed because I have to do all my receipts and put them somewhere or remember things, you know, this, because it's on the Google Doc, it allows you to search quick for something that you might be looking for. And it allows you to tally up things at the end of the year when you need to very quickly, just with simple Excel-based formulas that work on Google spreadsheets. Okay, 82 viewers in the house. What is up? Hey, I haven't asked you guys to like this video yet, so please, yeah, actually I did. So yeah, like this video and super chat me $100, everybody, right now. Kidding. Partially kidding. Okay, let's go to YouTube. There are 18 questions on the YouTube post that looks like this. All right. So let's go into that real quick. Before we get to that, let me go. Let me respond to some comments that are in the feed right now. Good to see everyone here. We have OGC, Greg Ropp. We have You Wanna Dance. We have Pro Player, Matt G, Shamrock Pixie, Zaby, Jen, SR, Rhythm J, Pug Life Jones. We have a bunch of people in it right now. So let's talk about some of the remarks and maybe questions that are coming in live right now. Okay, so Greg Ropp, Goodwill stores are overpriced and many times even over retail in some cases. Yes, they are, but there are a lot of people in the back that still don't know how to price something correctly. And that's the reason why the arbitrage opportunity still exists, and Goodwill stores, I think, are great places to find good resellable items. Thrifty Flipside says, what's up, long hair? Yeah, it's getting longer, right? So yeah, almost to the chest, we're getting close. Feels good to have long hair, I guess. Okay, Pro Player TO. When you list items, do you choose I don't know the measurements, or do you prepackage everything in its right box? So I don't usually get into majority of clothing items, okay? And those are the items where you're gonna have to, you know, put the, you know, measurement of the collar, you know, 17.5, 34, 35, like really crazy measurements where you're having a mannequin, you gotta like get on the floor and like do measurements all the time, and from pit to pit and from the back of the neck down to the butt base. Like I don't get into those kind of clothing. I get into clothing that's like typically outerwear, cycling outerwear, things that when it says extra large or whatever, like people already know when they buy that item, like, all right, I know what that is, like, because I have a large, let's say, North Face jacket. I just need a large soft shell North Face jacket. So they get on eBay, they look for one, or they get on Facebook Marketplace, they look for one, they find my listing, and that's easy stuff. I don't ever get people like, hey, give me the pit-to-pit measurement on this like chinchilla fleece from Patagonia. Like nobody cares about that. But if you deal with other things like camel hair blazers or normal blazers or tuxedos or, you know, formal, any kind of formal shirt, button up, now you got to start putting all those kind of crazy, you know, measurements in there, because you can take the measurement that you see but you don't know if the thing's been shrunk. Like that's the thing. You don't know if the item has been washed incorrectly, then dried on high, and then all of a sudden like this large that says it's large is really a medium. So I don't get into clothing. I don't get into clothing for two reasons. One is that it's too time intensive. And two, it doesn't pay as well as a lot of other things that I mess with. And that's just really the bottom line. For the time I'm investing in my eBay project, which is basically a local marketing, local selling project and all that kind of stuff, I really don't want to exceed 16 hours a week. Like that's my main thing. So the other amount of time, we'll get to a question, you'll see why. But the other amount of time I work on my other stuff, right? So that's the main reason why I don't get into clothing. It's not that clothing is bad, all right? It just doesn't agree with what I want, and I don't want to be working all day measuring things to get $5 or $10 an item, for example. Yeah, it's just not my thing, but it might be other people's thing, and that's totally cool. It's just not mine. Pocket Prophet says, smash that like button. Okay. Pentecostal guy. I'm 3.5 hours away from you. Maybe you're in Dallas, maybe you're in Houston. I don't know yet. I've always wanted to go thrifting with y'all. When are y'all doing a meetup to go? Okay, so I've thought about doing a brief local meetup for one day on the weekend after February 1st. So the February 7th or 8th, 9th, something like that. I'm thinking about it. I might do it. It would be in Austin. It would be pretty much an all-day Saturday thing with like a little break in the middle. So I'm thinking about doing that. That would be in Austin, do a lot of thrifting, open up with garage sales in the morning, and then maybe close it out with like a brewery or something. Just thinking about it. Don't know yet. But yeah, it's cool that you're close, man. You should definitely come down. There's going to be a big meetup somewhere around June, I think, in Austin, Texas. That's going to be the big one. So, Mr. DeLeon, have you ever tried to sell sneakers like Jordans and hype Nike, Adidas things? Yeah, I have. And I only get into those when I know it's like not the super hype stuff, not that 350 Yeezy Boost or anything like that. Like I try to get the right under that, like the Ultra Boosts, caged, uncaged, or Aqua Jordans, what are the 7s? I don't know, like things that I know for sure. When there's a fake, it's pretty obvious, but I don't get into those like super hype things, like Off-White or whatever Boost is coming out or whatever newest Kevin Durant shoe. A lot of those new things have fakes, and I don't want to mess with. I don't want to be a person that deals with something that could be faked real hard. So that's the reason why I don't mess with too much Dolce & Gabbana, Louis Vuitton, current day, this or that. I just don't want to get into that game. I don't want to be a person that takes a chance on something, then loses my eBay account, for like a month. And it's not that you lose your eBay account. They just don't let you list things for a certain amount of days. Sometimes it's 14, sometimes it's 30. I have had a suspension before, probably 5 years ago, for a pair of Air Jordans, which I know were 100% real. But then the person that bought them was like convinced they were fake. I'm like, there's no way. Like, there's just no way. Oh, sorry. Like I knew it. But anyway, so he filed like a whole thing. And since it's a Nike product, eBay was like, yeah, you can't be selling, fake Jordans. I was like, come on, this is not a fake Jordan. I 100% know about it. But, eBay sided with the buyer on that one. So I had a 14-day suspension of, I couldn't list any new items for 14 days, which wasn't crazy. Like it wasn't, okay, a little slap on the wrist. But I've since then sold Jordans here and there, but it's not like my thing I look out for. Okay. What else we got here? Brian the Oak Brook Picker says, great sales on those belt buckles. Yeah, he's talking about an Instagram post. You should go look at it, guys. All right, any more? What's up, long hair, thrifty flipside? What's up, going? It's good to see you guys here. All right, any more? Have I ever done RA? Yeah, of course. I mean, there's a pile of stuff right here that's RA, essentially. So yeah, I do. That's from Uniquely Me. That's Tracy. Yeah, have I ever done RA during Q4? Yes, I have. I didn't do it this year because I just didn't want to, but every year before then, for the past 3 years, I did it, and it's fun stuff. That's like crazy RA right there. That's just shipping off every single day RA for at least, for me, I was doing it for 3 to 4 weeks, every single day shipping off something, and just no more into that. I don't know. It's fun. It's just not my thing. But I do it. It just, if it coincides with my thrift runs and stuff, if I find something, I scan it, it turns out to be something pretty good with low rank, then yeah, I'll send it in. But I'm not going to go to Targets and Big Lots and random other stores just looking for strict RA stuff. Okay. Greg Ropp says, Chris, thank you so much for your inspiration and for all you do. I've missed most of your live chats, but I'm glad I made it today. I bought your book, Flip That long ago, and I recommend everyone to read it. Cool. That's my very first publication, like 5 years ago. It's on Amazon Prime. It's all over the place, but yeah, it's an interesting book. It was like you know, my view on the whole resale space 5 years ago and what I was doing maybe 6 years ago. Anyways, okay, let's get back to the questions. Brett Lott says something in my eye. Okay. What is the mountain bike resale scene like, bud? I'm seeing a lot now. I see that you grabbed them up. Yeah, mountain bikes are awesome things to flip and resell if you live in a good bike town, right? But there are a lot of good bike towns in America. So is the mountain bike resale scene pretty good? Is it bad? I think it's pretty good. I think the hybrid, you know, cycling scene is really good. The road biking scene, really good. It's just about getting in at a good price. I do have a guide called Bikes $2, which also has a second part to that guide, which I created about 3 months ago. So essentially you're kind of getting like a pretty big guide, then you're getting like this addition guide to it. You can find that down below as well. But yeah, I talked about flipping bikes. I've been flipping bikes for 14 years, right? So only until about 4 years ago did I make a guide about it. And I think it's pretty comprehensive. It's a lot of fun. And I think you can learn a lot from it. So you can go check that out down below as well. Dominic Thomas, have you ever thought about getting into pallets? Not really, just because it's a space kind of thing. Typically, when you get into pallets, you're going to need either an empty garage or you're going to need like a warehouse type space, which my garage has half bikes, like half are just full of bikes, and half of it is a gym. So, oh, sorry. And then there's a wall that's full of eBay items. But that's basically my garage right there. If you take, you know, 20% of the space and it's eBay inventory, then 40% of the space is bicycles that I own, and then the other 40% is a gym. That's my garage. I don't have any room for any pallets. And I just don't want to get into the pallet. It doesn't excite me. So that's one of the things in the resale game that you kind of have to understand is if it doesn't excite you, it's not sustainable, right? You can try anything that you want, and that's great. But if you can't sustain it because just your internal happiness isn't really clicking, then you're going to do marginally well at whatever the hell it is. And it's something that you should abandon and really try to make it your own. So if there's maybe another way that they can make smaller pallets or something that like people could put into their houses, and they can come through an average doorway, and then I'd probably look into it, you know. But pallets are pretty big, right? And they're not exactly something that you can get out of your way within like 10 minutes, right? You usually have to unload it, and that stuff has to go somewhere too. It's just not my thing right now. Okay. There's a good comment about one of my guides. Debbie Porter, your Bags to Bucks guide is my personal favorite and has been priceless for me. I've also picked up 2 bikes free at curbside that will be awesome sellers. Another winner from the Bonafide Hustler thing. So cool, yeah. You know, Bags to Bucks is a good guide as well. Go check it out if you go to thrift stores and you see bags laying around, you know, cases, things like that, and you want to decode this stuff and try to turn it into money. I definitely think you should pick up that guide down below as well. Okay, enough of about my guides. Let's talk about these YouTube comments right here. Okay. Hey, dude. This is from Panos Okay. Hey, dude. Are antique mall prices usually negotiable? Usually they are, actually. I only ask because sometimes I see tags that say firm on them. Okay, so there's nothing big. You know, if something says firm, it's firm. But a majority of the antique malls I've been to across America are one phone call away from the actual booth owner. Like the front of the antique mall can call the booth owner and be like, hey, will you take like, you know, instead of 20% off sale, will you do 25% off? And I've seen so many people get great deals through that way. I know I get calls every now and then with someone that wants an extra deal on top of the deal that is in my booth right now, which is a really good deal already. But I'll get that phone call, and as long as I pick it up, then I can authorize a deal that is better than what I have in my booth currently. So, answer your question. Hey, dude, are the antique mall prices usually negotiable? In my experience, yes. John Haywood, are you into Amazon FBA? I am. If so, when should a new reseller entertain moving moving some inventory to FBA. Look, FBA is really good for, I think it's really good to move items that you're ungated in, you're not restricted in, and items that are quick sellers. Outside of that, you're messing with long-term storage fees. If you speculate that something like a mid-tail item and you don't have much experience with Amazon FBA, be careful with that. What I like to do is look at the FBA rank chart. You can just go into Google and put FBA sales rank chart, right? And this one site comes up all the time, which has a pretty accurate PDF. It's not bad. You can also research things through Camel, which if you don't have a stable internet connection within a store, sometimes it's really tough to get there. So that's why I like having this PDF like saved on my phone, and it'll show the best 1%, I think 3%, 5%, and 10% of each category, whether it be like, kitchen stuff or photo, video, things like just random stuff, toys, games. It'll show you on rank status, like you're going to kind of get a glimpse of how fast that thing can move once you send it into Amazon. So I only deal with items that will sell that are probably top 3% items. So as soon as they check in, within a month they're gone. So that's what I like to mess with. So to answer your question, I am in an Amazon FBA. When should a reseller entertain moving some inventory to FBA? Well, the first thing you have to do is make sure that you get on the $1 plan instead of the $40 a month plan. And as you start selling more and more, and let's say you move more than 40 items on average a month, then jump to the other plan. But for the most part, only send in really good low rank inventory. So you have a good experience with Amazon FBA. Last thing you want to do with Amazon FBA is send in some like long tail books or long tail stupid things to where you're just sitting there on your phone looking at it like, how come I haven't made any money today? And then you go into your inventory thing and you're like, man, I have like 200 things in my inventory, nothing's selling. So that's just a really sour taste in your mouth. You don't want that. You want to have success so that way you can replicate it, right? And then when you replicate it, you can experiment different things and see what works for you. Okay, Ryan Greer. What about the Goodwill clearance center bins? Oh, okay, is there enough profit in them or am I wasting my time? I answered this question earlier, Ryan, so go check out my answer on that. It's just not like my thing, right, to go to the bins, but I might go to the one close to my house. All right, Seymour V, I'll just put it like that. Have you ever thought about opening up a coffee house / thrift store / taco joint? It's a pretty funny comment. I've thought about opening up a coffee shop 10 years ago. I thought about it. And I think it would have done pretty good to this day. Just because up here in North Austin, there aren't really any like super coffee aficionado type joints yet. Okay, there are some now, but back then there were none. And that was like my whole angle was, on a SWOT analysis. I just fresh out of an MBA program or while I was still in it or whatever, you start to learn about all kinds of stuff and IRRs and SWOT analysis and like all this really cool stuff and NPVs. And you start to realize that things that maybe were out of your reach or business things that were out of your reach might be within your reach completely if you get the right kind of investors in there or VC funding or whatever. And yeah, there's some ways that you can open up any business that you're dreaming of. So I thought about opening up a coffee joint because I was always going to Central Austin to get really good coffee and to study at a place that was 24 hours, open. And there's none of that in Austin. There was like none of that in North Austin where I live. So to this date now, there still isn't a 24-hour place in North Austin that has really, really super good coffee. It's just not my thing. I don't want to do it now, but I thought about doing it 10 years ago. Okay. Dan Joe Lowe. Please talk about your relationships to bike stores and if you sell to them. I usually don't sell to bike stores. How do you go about creating these relationships or if it just happened by random occurrence? Okay, so let's just talk about how I make bike stores work for me because I am an avid mountain biker. I love mountain biking. In fact, in 55 minutes, I have to be somewhere to do a trail ride. But I love mountain biking. And how do I make mountain biking work for me to where, it doesn't cost me as much money as it should? Because it's an expensive sport. It kind of is. Things break down, things wear and tear, that kind of stuff. And you want to soup up your gear as you start getting better. So it's not cheap. But when I go to bike stores, a lot of them love little tips in the form of like a couple bucks, $5, $10, because they like beer. They like beer and pizza. All these people that are working behind the scenes, like fixing a bike up, they love beer and pizza. So if you can start to give them that positive reinforcement, like, hey, oh man, Chris is coming in with his bike, and they're like, okay, so he wants this done, which only takes about 10 minutes. Rather than check Chris in and give him like a slip, we'll just do his bike right now, because he always like tips us and stuff. So pretty cool. And another thing that I do to even save more money is if they're working on something that I don't know about, I'll ask to like, hey, can I come behind the scenes and like see how you do this? So that way I can do it at home too. They're always like so pumped up to show you, not behind the scenes, but to show you what they're working on. So by that rationale, I've saved a lot of money in my life with my mountain bikes and stuff through personal maintenance and things, just because I've just tipped well and I've been very inquisitive behind the scenes as to how can I do this on my own so I don't bother you guys anymore, that kind of stuff. So, but do I sell the bike shops the bikes that I find? No. I thought about it, but I can sell them for more in the local market, so I don't think I would want to. Pashi Pineapple, what's your favorite thing that you like to flip, and what's your favorite place you like sourcing from? It's a good question. Okay, so let's talk about the favorite place I like sourcing from. Garage sales, hands down. There's just so many variables that make it so much fun. There's a timing variable, there's a negotiation variable, and then there's the variable of like, you just never know what you're gonna see at a garage sale. And the other variable that's pretty cool is I got to spend time with my wife and my brother. A lot of times, there's just so many variables. I like that. So that makes me happy. And I should stress that, because if something doesn't make me happy, I'm not going to do it. But if something makes me really happy, then I tend to replicate it and I try to optimize it as much as possible. To answer the first part of that question, what's your favorite thing you like to flip? My favorite thing I like to flip would probably be still probably bicycles or boots. Like those things just are so easy to do. Like it's just not, they're easy to do and they reward really hard. So I like that. I of course like flipping things on FBA that are like super short tail electronic stuff. I mean, who doesn't like that? But once I send it off, it's like I'm hands off and I just see my account go up, So it's not as gratifying, let's say, as spotting an awesome bike, listing it the right way and having someone come to your house and like fit them on the bike and they love it. And then now you've made them a more active person. I don't know, like there's just a whole lot more satisfaction in that other one, but it does take a little bit longer of time. But for some reason, it just makes me feel better. Juan Soriano, if I go on a trip or vacation, what do I press on eBay to let them know? That way I don't have to worry about shipping the item right away while I'm on vacation. It's a terrific question. So you're gonna wanna put your store on vacation mode. Problem is, there's not really a one and done solution to this. So you're gonna have to go into this is what the really crazy part is. This is how I get to it, but you go into your messages section of eBay and somewhere around the top, I think right section of that page is like change settings or something like that. You can click into change settings, scroll down about 3/4 the way down. There's a thing called vacation mode on or off. Okay, so you're gonna wanna click that to on, and then after that, it populates a little subscreen right under there. As soon as you press on, like this little thing comes out and says, write a message here for all your people to see, even before they buy the item. Like as they look at your item on eBay, they'll see this one like little sentence paragraph thing that you write. And so I always put seller is away until, and I put the day that I'm going to come back. All packages will be shipped out the morning of, probably the following morning after I come back. And so I do that. So that's step one. Okay, so you click your vacation settings on, you put a little like note in there, and I put it in capital letters too, and then I press save. All right, so now that's done. That doesn't mean your store is on vacation mode, right? You still have to adjust your handling time, because if your handling time still reflects one day, it still dings you on shipping. So what you got to do is go into your edit screen. You can edit listings in bulk. Click them all, the check marks go all the way down, and then you're going to edit a handling time, which is not under price duration, but it's under this thing called handling time. And so you click on handling time, and it gives you like 1 1, 2, 3, 5, and 10. I think it's around there. Anyways, I always put mine. If I have a week-long vacation, I'll put it to 10, and then halfway through that week-long vacation, I'll switch them all to 5. So that way it doesn't look so alarming. If someone was like considering to buy an item, they go, oh my God, 10 days handling, like screw this. But if you're midway through your vacation and you put 5 days handling, or even 3 days handling, for example, then that's not as bad to a prospective buyer out there. And so typically when I'm on vacation with a store that has between 150 and 170 items on it, I might sell 4 to maybe 8 items if I'm really tracking hard, like making sure everything's good. But the thing is, the day before you leave, then shift everything back to normal, like 2 days handling, 1 day handling, and then that way it's like your eBay business is working for you a couple days before you jet, whatever destination you're at. What's up, my friend John Haywood? This guy is awesome, by the way. About a year ago, I picked a random person, that was just, I don't know, I felt like he was just a nice person. And so John Haywood was, and I can consider him one of my good friends. I've never met him in real life, but not only has he super chatted me $10 here in the feed, so thank you, John Haywood, but let me give you the story behind this real quick. I picked a random person that was just really supportive of what I was doing behind the scenes. And I was like, you know what? And he expressed a lot of like interest about like the guides I was creating and stuff like that. And then I said, hey, John, one day I just like, hey, John, will you review this guide for me, my upcoming guide? And so he was like, absolutely. And so I gave it to him, and that was Bags to Bucks, and he was blown away by it. And he was like, this is awesome. And I was like, I want your constructive criticism and everything. He's like, pretty much awesome, like great guide. And then I gave him Shoes to Bucks after that, and he was kind of like, wow, this one's like really big. This is a big guide. It's at least 40% bigger than the Bags to Bucks one. And so he was like, oh my God, like a really awesome guide. I can't wait to go out there and like, buy some shoes. And he's been a friend of mine. And I want to just say, shout out to John Haywood. He's in the feed right now. You don't have to be a really popular channel to hit me up and be friends with me or anything like that. Like, I just have to know, I just notice certain people that make efforts, And so John Haywood is one of those people. He's my lead person I go to when I build something or I'm thinking about building something. Like, I show it to him first and let him know, like, how would you like this? Like, how would you perceive this as a buyer, for example? And so just a random person, never met the person, I never met John. We conversate behind the scenes every now and then. And it's just, I don't know. There are really no rules to good friendships in this world, If you just put massive amounts of trust in what you do in your work and other people, I think good people come through the funnel and just find you, Okay. Couple more. I'm gonna try to go as fast as I can because I have to get on this mountain bike ride soon. I can't answer that question. I don't know the answer to that one. Sorry. Yvonne Salazar, what do you actually do for a living? Your bio states part-time eBay reseller. You have a 9 to 5 as well. Okay, so I don't allow myself to do more than 16 hours a week around the whole reselling project. And in the other time, I just work on my own stuff. Like I work on semi-optimizing my private label brand, which is right there, the Strella brand and everything like that. I work on, today I was working on a workout program that is going to be offered on my workout channel. So yeah, it's a 4-day workout split, no more than 6 hours in the gym. Who wouldn't be interested in that to get some awesome gains? But I was working on that. That still needs about a week of tuning and everything like that. But today on that program, I worked out the Google Doc, the layouts, the presentation, like all that kind of stuff. I like working and creating on things that I know about, So yeah, that's what I do right now. I don't want to make a killing of money. I don't really care to. I have guides too. I have many different income streams. So I have, everyone knows everyone knows like how I typically make money. It's just all a bunch of various different ways. AdSense, there's a bunch of ways. So I don't have to, and my living costs are extremely low. So I'm not like strapped for cash ever. Okay. What do we got here? When selling on eBay, do you list buy it now for 30 days or good till canceled? I list mine for 7, if I'm not mistaken. I think I'm on a 7 right now. Amazing E30 super chatted me $5. I'm over here sipping. Thanks for the video. I would like to meet up someday. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Thank you for the super chat. Stay tuned to my channel, and I'll let you know if this February meetup's going down in Austin, Texas. If not, there's definitely a June one coming down. All right, let me just summarize this question right from Eric Wright. How do you determine whether something is FBA versus eBay or local? So something that's FBA is typically going to be untarnished, wrapped in plastic, OEM, like, ready to go with a barcode, usually with a barcode, unless it's like a video game or something like that. So typically with a barcode, or it could be a small electronic that has really low rank, such as, the camera that I'm filming with, for example, like a C920 camera you can find at a garage sale for $1 to $5. You send it into FBA and they'll pay you $45 and it'll be sold the day that it checks in. That's just an example. But I try to send in super low rank, smaller electronics, guitars for Xbox 360 primarily. I also send in anything that has a barcode with a really low rank, whether it be a puzzle or, I'm trying to think of all the things that I'm sending in here. We got a mouse that's going out, a puzzle. There's a bunch of other random stuff in there. I see a blood pressure monitor. So, there's things with barcodes that I find just randomly. Sometimes it's an end cap of some random store that I'm in, or it's something I find at a thrift store. I'll send that into FBA as well. So that's pretty much the. Okay, here's a last question. Okay, I'm gonna try to get these questions done. What's the most random item that sold for big money? Oh, gosh. I mean, a strange item like an elliptical is pretty strange. It's an elliptical bicycle. It's really odd. They're hella expensive. I made $1,000 on one of them. I made $1,000 on the other one too. This was not too long ago. This is like within 2 months ago. So it's a very strange item. You know, I got into them real low, and then after I was done selling them, like I made a G on one, and then I sold the other one, made a G on that one. So that was pretty cool. Just a very odd item. Okay, what's a question? Okay, so bonus question if I have the time. This is from Greg Ropp. What other sites besides eBay, Amazon should we be aware of and reselling on? eBay, Amazon, Facebook Marketplace, and Craigslist. I think those are the solid 4 right there, with Amazon being the least important. If you're a beginner, intermediate, like you can get in really big trouble with Amazon if you don't know what you're doing. So be real careful with that. But eBay, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, I think those are really, really good. I would not suggest OfferUp or the other one, Let Go. Forget all those. Yeah, so those are the ones you should mess with. Where do you get your boxes and shipping supplies? USPS primarily for a lot of them. I do 9x15 poly bags, set of 100 coming off of Amazon. I do bubble wrap from Amazon, and I do my tape from eBay, typically 36 rolls at a time. You know, there you go. What's your favorite bike to resell and why? Or what is, okay, so 2-part question, what's my favorite bike and why? And then the other part of this question is probably what is your favorite bike to resell and why? Favorite bike to resell and why? Probably be an Electra Townie because it goes real fast and it appeals to a lot of people. Electra Townie, really, really good bike. Pick them up for, you know, 80 or below, 100 or below, sell for about 200 plus. What's my favorite bike to ride and why? I have 2 primary mountain bikes right now. One's a Specialized Enduro, which is a 6-inch travel bike, bigger jumps, bigger hits, ledge drops, things like that. Heavier, but a burly bike. The one I would like to ride now that's more fun and just I can whip it around real good and it's just an awesome bike is a Specialized Stump Jumper 2018. Yeah, expert model. So I like that one. What should we look for when we find Hoka 11s? Should they be in mint condition? Hoka 11 One One is a Hoka One One. It's really the way you say it. Is a shoe. Really popular in the running community. Should they be in near mint condition? When I flip Hokas, they're almost always in near mint condition. Yes, so that should just answer all your questions right there. If they're in near mint condition, they're not going to really have any delamination issues or anything like weird like that. Michael. That was from Monica, by the way. So Michael S., how many active listings do I have on average? On average, somewhere between 158 to like 170. I'm going to try to get my eBay store to 200 items this year. It's a lot harder than I thought. But on Facebook Marketplace this morning, I had 70, something around that, maybe 68. And then on, I think on Craigslist, I have more by like maybe 20, something like that. James Barker. Where can I pick up your Booths to Bucks guide? I have a secret guide called Booths to Bucks, which talks about the antique booth and stuff like that. It's a real small, short read. I think if you put Booths to Bucks into Google, you might find the Gumroad link to that. It's not the greatest guide ever. It was something I would say, honestly, like I hastily built it, but it's still good. It has great information, so I priced it real low. Like I made sure not to like charge up anywhere close to the Bags to Bucks guide or those other ones because those have serious like picture, everything is just crazy in those guides. This Boost the Bucks guide was something that was created not hastily but quickly, and the price will reflect that. Trust me. And then Marissa, last question: favorite bike to flip? I answered it earlier, which is the Electra Townie. Is it a really awesome bike to flip? Period. Okay. Record traders. Here's a good remark. Every time I get to close to 200 listings, things sell fast and set me back. It's a good problem to have. Yeah, you know, the closest I ever got to it was like 176 listings somewhere in like November, and I just was not able to get to 200. Like I was listing, I just could not get to 200. So it's a good problem to have. It certainly is. I think a good problem to have, or the best problem to have, is an ASP that is climbing. So learn how to find your average selling price on eBay. And this is a really important thing because as thrift stores go up in prices and as USPS, postage prices go up and everything like that, your sell prices have to go up as well, okay? So you have to be thinking about that. If you're selling stuff for the same amount of money, but all these other variables are basically like the inflation of the reseller business, variables like shipping. When I say variables, because it varies, right? It's variable, right? So shipping, eBay fees are pretty much constant, but yeah, the shipping is there, and then the buy cost is typically getting higher across America. So for like a standard pair of, let's say, $10 shoes in Austin, now they're all of a sudden $13 and $15. So if my average sold price was like 65, then accordingly, I have to be around 70, 72, something like that, in order to make the same amount of money, or else I'm just making less money with the same amount of time. That doesn't please anybody. So that's something that I looked at yesterday. I was like, what's my ASP for December? Because it's out now, and you can check it out. My ASP for December is at $99. It's pretty high. And then the month before that, I think it was 92 maybe, and then 87, something like that. Or it might be the month before that was 87, the month before that was 92. Either way, like I'm trying, if my average buy cost is like $12 to $15 on most things, then my ASP climbing is a good thing. Right? It means I'm making more money for the same amount of time that I'm working. Anyways, all right. So the last question, all right. So the last question is from Dominique Thomas. Not a reseller question, but random. What are you mixed with? All right. I am half Filipino and half French. Another question. Where do you find your ASP? It's a great question. So if you go into the eBay Seller Hub, the main, portion of eBay that shows you like the item that you have to ship off today within 24 hours, whatever, that main screen, scroll down that screen about halfway, look to your left. You're going to look for a button called Sales Reports Plus. Click on that button, and then about 2/3 of the way down on the right, it's going to show ASP. It's going to be 3 green-looking rectangles. It's going to say average selling price, and below each rectangle, it shows you the ASP for every month. There's the answer to that question. That's pretty much the show. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're listening to this after the fact, then hook me up with a like. Thank you for anybody thank you to all the people that have commented in the feed that gave me questions during the week to make this show have content. And thank you for the people that super chatted me money. That was really nice of you. And till then, keep watching my videos, and I'm going to be making hot shots left and right. Find me on my other channel if you're interested in the fitness realm and everything like that, called Bod Damn. But till then, guys, it was really fun hanging out with you guys, and I will see you on the next Bonafide Hustler Q&A, which will be next week. Keep in touch with the graphics that come out so you can put your questions there and get priority answers. And I'll see you on the next show. Take it easy.